Barkley, and the foul. Farley with moment. Oh, what a play by Barkley. Barkley for three. Unbelievable. He's not human.
Now on NBA Inside Stuff. At the zoo, the Warriors handled some monkey business, but there was one animal they couldn't overlook.
Hey, found a new running mate. I'm gonna be the two guard.
In New York, Charles Oakley's putting on a show on the court and also on the air. And we'll talk to Steve Smith, who's turned on the heat in the playoffs.
Great move. Oh, yeah. Check this out.
The killer crossover.
4.
What's up, what's up, what's up?
The second.
You like my hat?
3.
Jordan on the drive.
Jam.
Did someone say jam session?
Here comes Dirk Charles.
2, 1, lift off.
Hold on, folks. Buckle up.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm Willow Bay.
And I'm Ahmad Rashad. One of the big stories in the playoffs has been the Miami Heat giving the Atlanta Hawks all they can handle. I'll be talking to the man who's led the way for the Heat, and he is point guard Steve Tricky Smith.
Also today, we'll tune in on the Knicks' Charles Oakley as he hosts his own radio show. And we'll hear some messages from NBA players to their moms for Mother's Day. Last night, the season was on the line for two teams. The Knicks were trying to close out the Nets while the Rockets tried to do the same against the Blazers. Let's check out the action from Game 4.
In New Jersey, Kenny A took it to the Knicks early on.
Anderson says, I can beat Davis on the drive.
Then Charles Smith scored 2 of his 18 points in the post. Knicks led by 7 at halftime. In the second half, Charles Oakley continued his strong play and helped the Knicks open up a 15-point lead.
Punched away by Starks, rewarding Oakley for all that hard work.
The Nets, fighting for playoff survival, did manage to cut the lead to 5. But Ewing, 36 points and this slam topped off the Knicks win.
On the Sunday.
The Knicks advance and meet the Bulls Sunday in New York. In Portland, it was all Rockets. They outran the Blazers from the opening tip and led by as many as 21 points.
Smith, another fast break. Boy, Doug, how about 180 degrees in Game 3?
But the Blazers began to chip away at Houston's lead.
Bye over Elijah.
And this big three-pointer by Terry Porter cut the lead to just 2. Then with time running down and trailing by 3, Rod Strickland had a chance to tie, but came up a little short.
The front of the rim, and the Houston Rockets advanced to round number 2 against Phoenix.
Later today, the surprising Denver Nuggets will face the Supersonics in the 5th and deciding game of that series. You can see it right here on NBC.
Both the Nuggets and the Miami Heat are trying to pull unprecedented upsets. No number 8 seed has ever eliminated a number 1 seed. Tomorrow, the Heat will try to do just that in Game 5 against Atlanta. As always, the man who will be running the show is their sensational point guard, Steve Smith. This season, Steve has lifted his game to a new level and lifted the entire team along with him.
And Steve Smith wants the ball tonight. You can see it in his eyes.
This is the time of the year when NBA stars rise to the occasion, and Steve Smith has been the driving force in the Heat's playoff success. 2 years ago, they were swept by Chicago, but Smith made a big impression.
The Heat win! The Heat win! What a win for this team.
I remember sitting in a room one time talking to Michael Jordan about the young guys that he really thought were really going to be a player. He said, they got this kid down in Miami named Steve Smith that can play. I mean, to have somebody like that say something about you, it's got to make you feel pretty well.
Yeah, definitely, Michael. I faced him a couple times when he had 54 3/4 against us.
But he told me you never backed off.
Never backed up. Nothing, not to put down Michael, nothing. I was intimidated by when he played, but not intimidated when we actually got on the court.
Smith gets by Michael.
How would you describe your game to me?
Person who draws a lot of attention, does a lot of different things on the court, not the obvious things. The little tricks here, the little slide moves, things you can get by without doing the fundamental things.
Yo, the world is yours. The world is yours. You're such a nice, soft, easy kind of guy off the court, but on the court, it's totally the other way.
Yeah, different. They call me Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. I definitely went on the court just go crazy. I like to win. I never let nobody beat me. That's, I think, the attitude everybody has in Detroit.
I fake your left and go right, straight down the lane. Here's one in your eye. You feel pain. You chumps like you, I gotta keep them in line. So prepare to suffer, boys. is now your mind.
Steve's game brings back memories of another great player from Detroit, the Iceman.
George Gervin, and it's got to be one of the all-time great scorers I think that have ever played in the NBA. And when I watch you play, I see some of George Gervin in your game.
Yeah, definitely a lot of people. My high school coach used to call me Irvin Gervin, for George and Irvin. I used to try to pattern myself so much like him. I think I'm still doing a lot of things George used to do.
And talking about Irvin, it was inevitable that you were going to get people say that you were like Magic Johnson because you went to Michigan State, 6'8", played point guard and the whole thing like that. I imagine that's got to be a major compliment.
Definitely, it's an honor to be paired to one of the best player maybe ever, him and Michael Jordan. What's so ironic about it, we both went to the same school and we're good friends, and we still keep in touch. And Irvin's just like my mentor, and he's a person I always looked up to.
Tell me a little bit more about George Gervin, because George, a lot of young kids out there never got a chance to see George Gervin. What was it about his game that you really, really liked?
The finger roll. We call it the dinner roll, coming from Detroit. When George grabs the ball.
Wait a minute now. In New York, it's the finger roll. In Detroit, it's the dinner roll.
We call it the dinner roll. Especially when he adds a little margarine, a little butter, when he flips it and just lets it go. That's the Gerv.
One of his childhood friends from Detroit is Derek Coleman. They're rivals in the NBA, but were teammates in the summer game. And now they'll join forces once again.
Finally, after all this time, you and DC playing against each other, you guys now have a chance on the Dream Team to play as teammates. That should be a lot of fun.
Definitely. We've always dreamed. We wanted to go to the same college, but things happened. Then we wanted to get drafted. I wanted to get drafted by New Jersey and play with them, but that changed. But now we're on the big team, the one representing your country, which is an honor, and we're playing together to both bring home the gold back to Detroit.
But before he starts thinking about that gold medal, the first thing he wants to do is bring the Heat their first victory in a playoff series. Before the series, Steve said you won't be able to tell number 8 from number 1, and for the most part, he has been right. They have battled Atlanta all the way down the line.
Now, tell me about this nickname. How did he get nicknamed Tricky?
Well, he's a magician, see? And then on the court, he tricks people. You saw in the feature how he give him this and go.
He's got those moves.
He's got the trick. So the Tricky thing fit. It was a contest. The fans voted it, and he liked it, and so now we have Tricky Smith. That's right. Now, there's another player from Detroit who is tricky, but not quite as tricky, and he is rising to stardom. He is the Golden State's Chris Webber, and this week he was named the Coca-Cola Classic NBA Rookie of the Year.
In a close vote, Chris edged out Penny Hardaway, and even though the Warriors got swept from the playoffs, Webber gives them a bright future. Bringing his charismatic smile and tremendous talent to the Warriors, Chris Webber helped make them the NBA's most improved team. Being named the league's top rookie fulfills one of his dreams.
It was definitely one of my highest basketball memories. Definitely with being drafted here to the Warriors and going to the Final Four. And I just like to thank Coach for really helping me out and the team as well.
Webber averaged more than 17 points and 9 rebounds a game and also left quite an impression on Charles Barkley with this jam.
Look out behind the back and the step of the foul. What a play by Webber!
I think he's a terrific young player, and I think if he keeps progressing, he's going to be a great player in the future.
Rebound by Webber, a man possessed.
Chris Webber is one of the finest athletes with intelligence that I've ever coached in my life. He's going to be a star player. There's no question in my mind.
Hey, it's the playoffs, and I want the inside stuff.
It's also Mother's Day tomorrow.
I'm so proud of you, son.
And we'll have messages from around the league.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Love you.
But first, the Warriors make some new friends as they visit the zoo. And Coach Don Nelson figured he'd also try out some new coaching tips.
Good girl. Yeah, now back on defense.
Now that's the inside stuff.
How did we improve on last season's best basketball cards? We gave them the same super glossy UV treatment, then added even more gold foil stamping. We dramatically improved the backs and set new standards for limited edition insert sets with more intense action, higher impact design, electrifying graphics, and foil stamping on both sides. 93-94 Clear Ultra. You still can't buy a better basketball card.
2 years ago, I blew out my Achilles. I said I'd be back. Everyone else said I was finished. All I gotta say is, step under this. And and we'll see who's finished.
Only the love can make you a player. You got the love?
Full header, tipping off at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, this weekend.
You ready?
Mullen for three.
Yes. I like that.
Tough angle. Here's Chris Mullen. Oh, what a shot!
Cool. All right.
Golden State Warriors coach Don Nelson loves riding motorcycles so much that he formed his own motorcycle gang. Now, his son, Donnie, who's the assistant coach there, prefers a slower mode of transportation. He likes riding smellephants. He took one for a spin recently at a local zoo.
The Warriors joined some of their season ticket holders at Marine World. Besides meeting the fans, it also gave them a chance to hang out with whales, tigers, and some other interesting new friends.
Someone told me it's all happening at the zoo.
An elephant. We don't have highlights, but we do have a final score. The Warriors lost.
One thing even tougher than handling that elephant was trying to stop Charles Barkley. In Rewind, you'll see how he lit up the Warriors and swept them out of the playoffs. The Pacers also got out the brooms, while the Spurs tossed up a ton of bricks. Plus, you'll see the worst move ever with an NBA trophy, and the only man with a worse haircut than Chris Mullen or Anthony Mason in this edition of Rewind. How about a big hand for... Hey, wake this guy up. It's time for Rewind. Saturday! It's bad enough the Spurs got crushed by the Jazz in Game 2, but at one point they went 0 for 25. Somebody please make a shot.
Hey, let's have an inspection. Call time and look at that basket.
As if they didn't have enough problems with Seattle, the Nuggets with a new category, a group rebound. Sunday, check out Mark Price with the shake, the bake, and the dish.
Price flying past to Mills, who hits the deuce.
At least Jerome Kersey was using his head, but Rod Strickland was headed off at the pass as Hakeem swapped it away to save the game.
Olajuwon blocks it away.
Charles Oakley dazzled the Nets with the pretty pass to Anthony Bonner. Monday, the Pacers sweep the Magic with Derek McKee looking like Magic Johnson.
What a no-look pass.
Indiana Pacers are in the second round for the first time in the history of the franchise in the NBA.
Tuesday, that shoe belongs to the Hawks owner, Ted Turner, and judging by his wife, Jane Fonda, Ted must have stepped in something, and I guess Craig Elo must have gotten a whiff of it. The smell even reached Steve Smith at the foul line. Wednesday, golfer John Daly showed off his new do, modeled after the Chris Mullen look. Meanwhile, Chris Webber handling success. After getting the Rookie of the Year award, he gets a big hug from his dad, but then drops the trophy. Then he had to watch his new role model, Sir Charles, who was unstoppable, going for 56 points.
Unbelievable! Charles Barkley, he's not human.
The Suns had something else to celebrate, as Kevin Johnson was named to Dream Team 2. Thursday, Game 4 in Denver, Broncos quarterback John Elway was there to fire up the crowd.
So let's get ready to fun football!
John was so pumped up, and so was Alfonso Ellis.
Ellis buries the ball and buries the Sonic.
As the Nuggets send it to Game 5. Hey, let me out of here because Rewind is over. Hey, let go. Finally, it was a tough return to coaching for Cleveland's Mike Fratello. The Cavs were plagued by injuries all season. Then when they got to the playoffs, they were missing 3 of the big guns, Brad Daugherty, Larry Nance, and Hot Rod Williams. Plus, they were swept by their old nemesis, Chicago. Fratello was asked about all this, and he said, I quote, as bad as things are, they aren't bad enough to go back to sitting next to Marv Albert. We'll be back with more stuff after this.
Rewind is brought to you by Reebok, who believes in the athlete in all of us. The official contact lens of the NBA presents Court Vision. With his unique vision, John Stockton averaged 12.5 assists per game to lead the NBA, and he earned his second straight Bausch & Lomb Court Vision Award.
I don't set statistical goals, but it is a great honor. It's very indicative of our team here. The guys that are talented putting the ball in the basket, because without that, you don't have an assist. So
Stockton bouncing into Carl, and Malone finishes.
You obviously need teammates. An assist is something that happens when somebody makes a shot off your pass. So you need good guys that can put the ball in the basket for you, and we have that here in Utah. It's a great blessing for me.
The combination of Stockton and Karl Malone gives Utah a devastating 1-2 punch.
Stockton to Malone. Oh, baby.
But John knows it takes more than a duet to get the Jazz playing in tune.
It's good to have all that weight on his shoulders, and he carries it very well. But other guys have been contributing all year in the last couple of years for us, and it's making us a good team, a solid team. I don't think you can just go out there to stop Carl and John combination. It's the whole Utah Jazz.
He has an eye for the ball on defense as well, as the Jazz D has been one of the keys in their playoff success against the Spurs.
Our defense has been good. Everybody's been unselfish and coming over to help, and we know we have our hands full individually, so it's a tough task. The guys are hanging in there, and hopefully we can keep their intensity up.
You know, John Stockton owns that Court Vision Award, but if they had an award for the best post-game quotes, the Knicks' Charles Oakley would win hands down. He has the best quotes of anybody in the league after a game, including Charles Barkley.
And you use them a lot here on the show.
I certainly do. So
Charles Oakley hears it from the crowd. He just would not give up.
I'm gonna be behind that.
Wait a minute.
Back at Hot 97 backcourt with the Oak Tree.
In his spare time, Charles Oakley gets plenty of airtime with his weekly radio show. And just like on the court, he gives it everything he's got.
There's something about him that's like, it's a mystique. You see him on the court, you see number 34 flying over 3 or 4 rows of seats, and I think that's the way he's been doing this show.
Audience is kids, and he always tries to leave them with a positive message.
What can you get them to try to aim on being something special in life, or try and just make it through life and being success?
Don't let people dictate what you do in your life.
Myself and Hot 97 came together on trying to do something positive for the kids that the kids can relate to, or something that the kids can tune into besides the music. Well, let's get into this. When I called you yesterday, and what kind of music you listen to these days?
The Oakman has gotten some feedback from his guests who critiqued his on-air performance.
I wouldn't leave the Knicks just yet, but he's got potential because he's already comfortable, you know, behind the mic.
For Charles, one of the best things about the show is dealing with issues that are important to kids. He plans to have some of his teammates on to talk about their experiences growing up. And usually when Oakley asks for his teammates to do something, they do it, even shaving their heads for the playoffs.
Hey, you know, there's been a lot of discussion about who's the man.
Yeah.
Oak is the man. And you know what? He has so many talents, I had to write them down. He's a great rebounder, a great dresser, has his own car wash laundromat. He owns his own music production company, Oaktown Entertainment, and now the man has his own radio show. He's the man. And one player who is also kind of the man and should be in radio is Sean Slam Dunk Kemp, who may have the league's deepest voice.
Not quite.
Who else?
LaFonso Ellis.
I think you're right. LaFonso Ellis has the league's deepest voice, but Sean Kemp probably has the league's deepest jam arsenal. And we have a lot of jams, and you'll see Sean along with Harold Miner and Robert Pack in Jam Session.
The designer. I want the ball every time.
Oh, Patrick
Ewing! In case anyone's forgotten, something very important takes place tomorrow. Now, I'm not talking about a playoff game, but Mother's Day. And NBA players are making sure they remember their moms.
Now, even though it's playoff time and they have a lot on their minds, players are never too busy to send the message home. In fact, even when it's not Mother's Day, they'll stop whatever they're doing to send greetings to Mom. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Those in the playoffs can't be with Mom on her special day.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. I miss you and I love you. I'll be on soon.
The question is, what gift would an NBA star give his mom?
I ran out of things about my mom. My mom got everything. Let's see. When I don't know what to buy my mom, I just buy her something to do with fishing.
Sometimes jewelry, flowers, you know, something sentimental. Female stuff, I don't know, you know.
The way Anthony Mason sees it, every day should be Mother's Day.
I think it's an understatement for your mother to get just one day. They should have Mother's Week or Mother's Month. You know, my mother's done so much for me.
And Chris Morris dedicated the biggest shots of his life to his mom.
Chris Morris with a couple of free throws to win it.
Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Those free throws are for you.
Hi, Mommy. Happy Mommy's Day to you. I love you.
Mom, happy Mother's Day. Hopefully this year we'll win a ring. And if I get one, you'll get one too.
Mom, I love you. Happy Mother's Day.
Mom, I love you. Happy Mother's Day.
That was such a warm feature to see those big men in love with their mothers, and I certainly agree with the big fella, Oliver Miller, that all women on Mother's Day should get something feminine.
I was going to get my mom something to go fishing.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that feminine?
That's our show for today. Happy Mother's Day. Next week on Inside Stuff.
Just kidding, no.
Reggie Miller has beat in the playoffs, and I'll have a profile of the Pacers star.
Does he love the pressure?
Plus, the Sonics held a special night to meet some families from Seattle.
I want the kids to know, hey, that they're not on their own.
You can see Gary Payton and the Sonics later today in Game 5 against the Nuggets right here on NBC.
So long, everybody. I think Oliver was trying to say feminine.
Feminine, I'm sure he was.
Of course, it might be an Arkansas thing. They might say feminine down here, but we got the